Spinning. HCPX, it's hump day, Wednesday. Cali X Boxing, joined by D-Style Boxing. We up in here. Put those X is up in the comment section below. If you're watching this in the archives views have been great. Appreciate everybody for the archive views. This is new subscribers, all that good stuff, all the like buttons y'all have been hitting. Make sure if you're in that chat currently, put the X up. Put that X up. This is HCPX in the comment section below. If you're watching the archives, make sure to put those X's up too and leave those comments. Appreciate everybody that's been joining the mailing list, HCP Boxing Tribe at gmail.com. And I see we already got people rolling through in the comment section. Sounds like Benavidez the monster isn't playing the monster anymore. Shout out Team Batman Box. Someone lying, man. Who knows who? Ronnie Shields even said Morrell ain't ready. Then Sampson says he's never offered Canelo. Which one is it? Benavidez's father was on Fight Hype. We got a lot of stuff going on. Shout out to One Praise. Shout out to Sports Archives, James Burrell, Mr. T. Everybody's up in here. My guy Chauncey Pearls. Appreciate you rolling through. So we got a lot of stuff going on. And appreciate y'all getting those X's up. 168 talk today. And we're talking 168 because everybody wants to know what's going on with 168. Canelo's still a cash cow. We know that. So people want to know what's going to happen next. Who's he going to fight next? What's going on next? But around 168, for years, we haven't had much action between the other fighters in 168. So the beautiful thing about 2023, we were thinking was we were going to start to see some action between these other fighters. We finally got Plant versus Benavidez after 5 years. Finally, we finally got it. And then there were talks from Sampson, Luka Wickowicz about a possible 3-fight deal. Not a possible 3-fight deal. They said there's agreements. We're going to fight Morrell Jr. We already got an agreement for Morrell Jr. Fight. And they've been saying this for almost 4 months now. It's been almost 4 months since Benavidez's last fight. And we're still here in limbo, still here in chaos. And there's a clear track record going on. And it continues. And my hope as a boxing fan was that this track record was going to stop, that there was going to be this Saul Tarsus, Damascus Road moment where Benavidez was going to do a 180, that there wouldn't be chaos with his team anymore. There would be clear and concise plan that they would execute, and he would simply start fighting the fights. He has a resume, D-Style, that would make Tank Davis blush. At least Tank Davis is thinking it up in 3 divisions. Benavidez is only doing it in 1. So we're simply asking for the fights to be fought. And now we're still getting chaos.
In fairness, we don't know who's going to fight yet. So like, we're going to wait.
In fairness, but what I'm saying is the dad saying one thing. The promoter saying all over the place.
Like objectively, if you're objective, they're full of shit. Like I mean, they're all over the place. We're going to fight Morrell, and Canelo's going to go fight Berlanga. So what does that tell you? And this, that, and the third. And yeah, Morrell, like, I've been agreeing to this fight. These dudes, like I already agreed to this fight. These guys going over there, like, okay, fine. I could see him maybe understanding that they want to get the Canelo fight, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if you don't get the Canelo fight, and you're using me as some type of like, because they were using Morrell, right? They still kind of are. Like they're using him to show that if we don't get the Canelo fight, that's the one we want. We're going to go for the next best option, which is Morrell, right? Well, now you're talking about Munguia. Like Munguia, and you FaceTime Munguia. And you're both like rubbing each other. Oh, yeah, well, if Canelo doesn't want it, you and I will fight as fellow Mexicans. Like, go shut up, okay? I tweeted out earlier. All right. I tweeted out, there's a lot of guys out here that like to play the neutrality card, right? I'm neutral. I'm better than everybody. Usually snot nose, think they're better than the whole world. They think they're special because I'm neutral, right? I'm a neutral spectator, right? That's what I am. I am what I am because it is what I say I am. Usually they say it themselves. People don't say it for them. They say it about themselves. That's what neutrality people do. No one gives them shout outs. No one pats them in the back. They say it about themselves, right? The problem with neutrality people, right, is that they fail to understand that neutrality could end up being unfair. Imagine if courts were neutral about everything. The plaintiff or the defendant none of them are guilty of anything because people are not capable of doing anything. Everything is just circumstantial and everything is just neutral. That's not the way the world works. Mm-hmm. Objectively speaking, Saul Canelo Alvarez has a resume and the reputation to always eventually give us the fights that we want. We know how he moves. That's why he has the best resume in boxing. And guess what? You don't need to be a big money name to have a good reputation. Tim Tszyu fought Shea, earned his title shot against Jermell Charlo. When Jermell Charlo got hurt, he went and fought the next best option, no questions asked, right, against Harrison, right? Beat him, and then stayed busy against Ocampo, another top 15 guy in the division, right? Just kept busy. Didn't stop being busy because that's how certain guys move a certain way. So in David Benavidez' part, I do believe David wants a Canelo fight. Who wouldn't want that fight? Right? That's a lot of money. Like you know, I mean, there's also legacy involved and all the belts on the line, and it's undisputed. There's no negatives in getting a fight with Canelo, right? So it's easy to want to fight with Canelo. That makes all the sense in the world, and he should want it, by the way. I'm not even saying he shouldn't. However, don't string along Morrell if you don't have any intentions to fight the guy. Stop stringing him along. You've been using Morrell as a name. Your dad has an interview saying, of course, it's already set. We wouldn't have even signed a contract if we didn't have these fights set already, and this, that, and third. And if you're going to go fight Munguia and you're not going to fight Morrell, that's a bad look, brother. After everything you strung us along for. Now, of course, the hardcore, salty Benavidez fans, right? They're going to come out. They're going to say, no. The Munguia fight's better. Morrell only has 9 fights. Who is he? He hasn't done anything, right? Do whatever you want to do, but it's a bad look. It's a bad look if you don't fight Morrell. After everything you've been telling us, and you've been using this man's name, right, to brag to everybody how you're going to fight Morrell and Canelo's going to go fight Berlanga. Ugh. Just saying.
It's a bad look. And I want to be perfectly clear about this. We're not going to move the goalposts with Benavidez how people move the goalposts with other fighters. If Benavidez, I've been saying it, if he goes on a run in 2023 where he fights Plant and Morrell Jr., that's a tough year right there. That's a good year. It's a hell of a year. I think Morrell Jr. is a wild card. A lot of question marks with him. The talent is there. And you can tell he gets it how he behaves. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to pull up the press release that his team sent out because it's, to me, one of the greatest press releases I've ever seen. It is beautiful. It's a thing of beauty. This is how you operate. But I want to be perfectly clear. We will give Benavidez the credit if he does it. And we're already there with the Canelo fight. He's done the bare minimum. He hasn't done much in the division, but he's done the bare minimum. He fought Plant, who Canelo already beat. It's a similar opponent. We just asked that you go out and fight a fight, and he's done the bare minimum. It's the bare minimum, though. It's the bare minimum. When it comes to the Morrell Jr. thing, when they first started talking about this a couple months ago, it piqued my interest, and I said, wait a second. Wait a second. He's going to fight Morrell Jr. next? He's going to fight Morrell Jr. next. And Base the Kid replied to me. He said, they're getting to him early, Calix. They're going to get to him early. This is the plan. They're going to get to him early before he gets some steam, and then they're going to age Canelo out another year, and that's the strategy here. So, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I got it. That makes sense. But once again, it's chaos. It's the same thing we've been seeing over and over and over with this team for a half a decade. It's Samson comes over here, says one thing. His dad, Benavidez's dad comes over here, says another. And then David's just sitting there. He's like, I don't know anything about any of this. David Benavidez is talking to Fight Hype yesterday. His dad's talking to Fight Hype today and saying, we never heard anything about an agreement with Morrell Jr.? Excuse me? Because everybody in the boxing world has heard about this agreement for 4 months now. And you're telling me you want me to believe that David Benavidez first heard about this agreement yesterday. Yesterday. He's been living under a rock, D-Style. He's been living under a rock. He just heard about this agreement yesterday. And this is my point with this. And this is why I tell everybody to plug track record into the equation, and even absent details, you get your answer. When it comes to David Benavidez and his team, it's a chaotic team. I almost feel empathetic for him because I do feel he has people on the inside of his team that I don't know if they have this best interest at heart, or I think he's a specific example of a big name fighter who is being managed poorly, being mismanaged like severely, and they're all over the place. And when you plug track record in the equation, anytime we get to these he said, she said things, a contract is sent. No, a contract wasn't sent. It was a proposal. 45 million, 50 million. No, we didn't send any particulars. They're all over the place. So I have to assume at this point that his team is the one in the wrong constantly. No matter what the negotiations are, no matter who they're with, I have to assume that his team is in the wrong because his team has.
We have a history, Alex. We have a history of it. There was a time.
But his team has a clear track record of not delivering big fights.
They have a clear track record of
not delivering fights that people want to see. This is not difficult. It's not difficult to figure out.
Let me hit this example really quick, though. But let me hit this, Alex. Check it out. Let me hit this example really quick. David Benavidez and Plant had this long, drawn-out rivalry, okay? Plant went to the media and said, this was about 3 years ago, hey, we sent an offer. Like we want the fight with David Benavidez, right? We want to do this fight with them. Let's do it, right? And at the time, David's team was not saying, "Oh, we don't want to make this fight happen," or that's not true. We want to marinate the fight or whatever. They weren't talking about marination. They weren't talking about any of that. They flat out denied. They were calling Plant a liar, right? Yeah. On my show on HCP, this dude comes out and he says, "Yo," when he was asked about that, Benavidez looks at the camera and says, "Do y'all really believe that? Like you really believe Plant? You think I would turn down a fight with Plant?" Well, I don't know if you would turn down a fight or not, but I do know this. It's funny how eventually the truth always comes out, right? The truth crushed to the earth, all will rise again every single time. And what happened? Time always reveals everything. Always. Time is undefeated, Alex, right? Yeah. We marinated the fight. We marinated the shit out of it. Yeah. Like the interviewers are saying, yeah. Oh, that's smart. Yeah. Like, okay, like all these manager fanboys. Yeah. Let me tell you something. The dude bragged about marinating the fight. You don't think they're going to try to marinate this one?
Yep.
You don't think that's what the track record is showing us right now? You don't think there's a fee going on by the management? Because they were saying this is the fight that they're going to make. They were guaranteeing if Canelo doesn't want it, we're going to go after Morrell. And Morrell will say, "Yo, I'm ready. Let's go." But now all of a sudden, that fight was never on the table. All of a sudden, Calix, they're trying to, you know what they're doing? I'll tell you what they're doing to us. All right? They're trying to, they're gaslighting us. Like we never saw it. We never saw the talks about him and Morrell. We never thought that was a fight that was going to be made. Okay? Because we went from, remember, he was a name that should not be spoken, if you remember. Right? Yeah. We couldn't even say the name. And we even mentioned Morrell. Like, the Benavidez fans will get mad at us. Like, well, why are you saying that name? Why does he have to fight him? Like you better not say the name. But I'm neutral, though. I'm a neutral fan. You better not talk about David that way. Like, whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter to me. Shout out to HLD, by the way.
HLD, appreciate the super chat, $5. You got so-called neutral YouTubers out here with 37 indoctrinating commandments while breaking the very first one on the list. True, true, true. I'm not sure who that's addressing, but shout out to HLD. Appreciate the super chat, my friend. Definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate everybody who's been rolling through and supporting. Going to get to comments in a minute, but I don't want to lose my train of thought or your train of thought. We both said Benavidez versus Morrell Jr. is a hell of a fight. That's a hell of a fight. And if Benavidez pulls off that year, to me, he's a fighter of the year candidate at that point. He's in that short list of top 10 guys to be, if we're looking out right now, Tim Tszyu as the front runner if he gets that Charlo fight and he wins that fight. But Benavidez is in that discussion of top 5, 10 guys if he fights Plant and fights Morrell and wins those fights, because he's fighting the number 3 guy, number 4 guy in the division. If he wins both of those fights, beautiful. And once again, he's doing what Tim Tszyu would do to Charlo. He's cornering the champ and saying, you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to go, dude. You need to fight this fight or drop the belts. But there are clear things popping up again. It's no. We never had that agreement. What do you mean you never had that agreement? Any critical thinker without hatred in their heart is going to hear that and say, dude, there is no way you've seen all these interviews from your promoter for 4 months plus, because they've been saying this stuff since before the Plant fight. And then even going back to the Plant fight, what happened? He was supposed to fight Uzcategui before Plant. And then they saw the reaction to that and they're like, whoa, we better fight this fight now. Because our rope is running thin here. Every single time they make you work for it. Every single time. It's why I got to ask the Benavidez fans the same question I asked the Tank fans. And I'm not talking about like the good natured fans, because everybody, and I think you would agree with this, everybody has a right to like whoever they like for whatever reason. He's from your area, same nationality, whatever, same cultures. You like his style. Fair enough. But you at least have to be honest about why you're there, number one, and you can't bend the truth around your favorite fighter. At least I'm honest about Prograis' performance, Prograis making some bad business decisions, him not being active enough. I don't care. I can honestly say I'm just a fan of dude because he's from down the road. That's it. That's as deep as it gets. With the Benavidez temporary Benavidez fans, I have to ask them, why are you there? I know the answer already, by the way, but I have to ask them, why are you there? Because it's too much work. The reason I come to sports D-style is it's simple. It's very simple. It should be simple. Life is complex. Life is hard. I don't want difficult things in my sports. I don't want it there. The easy thing about being a Canelo fan is I let him do all the work. I give him the money for the fight. Over a certain period of time, I see he eventually fights the fights. If it's not the next one, it's the next one. It's an easy relationship. I just sit back, drink my Modelo's, look at the Latinas, have a good time, listen to some Mexican music, and enjoy my Canelo fanhood. And if it gets to a point where I see, all right, this ain't it anymore. It looks like cash out territory. I'm done. I'm out. Let me go to the next guy. And if Benavidez ends up being that guy, I jump on the Benavidez bandwagon. It's easy to correct course. It's easy to just go wherever the fights take me. The Benavidez temporary fans, the problem with them is they're doing all the work for him. I don't understand why you're fighting battles for dudes who aren't fighting the fights. You're fighting the fights for him. And you're trying to convince people that this dude is ducked when there isn't a specific example you can give to not only Canelo, but any fighter that's ever existed around 168 ducking this guy. There isn't a specific example out there of anybody ducking him. And on top of that, you're trying to get us to believe that he's ducking. Canelo's ducking a fighter who has a style that he's never ducked. He's never had a problem with fighting. And I know that because you're the one who told me this for years.
Yeah, plus we were expected to believe that Plant was ducking all these years, and it turns out he wasn't.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, why are you doing so much work for dudes who don't even care enough about you to fight the fights? And another thing I've noticed is I look at the temporary Benavidez fans around the YTBC. And I say, wait a second. I remember you. I remember you. When Canelo was at 160, you were a Plant and Billy Joe Saunders fan. Wait a second. I remember you even further back. When Canelo was entering 160, you were a Golovkin fan. Oh, interesting. Oh, before that, when Canelo was at 154, I remember you from way back. You were an Erislandy Lara fan. Oh, before that, you were a Mayweather fan. Oh, wait a second. Even further back than that, you were an Austin Trout fan. Oh, I get it now. I get it now. You're not a fan of fighters. You're just a fan of the guys that Canelo is up against for whatever reason, right? As long as we can be honest, you can do that. As long as we can be honest about why you're doing that, it's fine with me. But the temporary Benavidez fans, I would warn you, you're fighting a losing battle. And I'm not talking about Canelo versus Benavidez head to head and who will win that fight. Because if Benavidez beats Canelo, would you be shocked? I wouldn't.
Shocked?
I wouldn't be shocked.
You're surprised.
No, not at all. He could very much beat him. But the reason you're fighting a losing battle is you're fighting battles for guys who have no track record of actually fighting the fights. And if we take that into the future, the likelihood of them actually fighting the fights down the road is not good.
But
So
this
even
is how
if
you
win
know,
the big
bro.
fight,
Look, I see why it's Bandera Roja now. It's not his nickname; it's his team's nickname because it's red flags everywhere. Okay, every time you see something, it's a red flag. Oh, Samson said this, red flag. Oh, he said this, red flag. I mean, this is unbelievable to me. And you know why it's unbelievable? Look, his dad, apparently, according to some content creators, is behind the scenes calling Canelo a bitch, that Canelo is scared, that Canelo doesn't want any part of him, that he's ducking, that he's scared of his son, and this, that, and the third. And then Benavidez put a story, Canelo, why are you scared of me? And this, that, and the third. Here you have this dude who literally said that if you lived in Cuba, they steal your fucking shoes, saying that you ain't no Mexican monster, saying you ain't shit. Why is the energy different towards this guy? Why is all of a sudden this guy, the one talking shit to you, not good enough to address? All of a sudden it's Munguia you want to fight. You want to fight Munguia. That's the guy you want to fight. That's crazy to me. Sorry.
This is the press release that was sent out by Morrell Jr.'s team yesterday. And this was an immediate press release that was sent out by his press guy as a result of Benavidez's team saying they don't have an agreement with Morrell Jr. And the funniest thing about this was put out June 20th and it's dated June 21st. that was unintentionally hilarious to me, but he goes right off the top rope here. This is Morrell Jr.'s words. David Benavidez is a big bitch. His dad is a big fraud, always talking like he's some tough guy, but he's just a small man with little man complex. His brother wants to be a gangster who talks a lot of shit, but got knocked out by Crawford and did a horrible job in the movie Creed. I don't know why he went there. that was too.
I mean, he's just shooting. He's just shooting, bro. He just you know,
he's
like
just shooting everywhere. He's just
machine gun like that. Like, give me the clip of the Creed movie. Whatever.
The Benavidez are a bunch of cowards. This is a guy you call the Mexican monster. He's a fraud. This is the guy everyone is building up. I see a fat, insecure boy. That's what I see. Benavidez couldn't walk down any street in Cuba without getting his shoes taken. Funny, he calls Canelo a duck. Who's the duck now? And then the funniest thing about this is they just proceed with the rest of the press release. David Morrell Jr.'s rise to prominence has been nothing short of remarkable. It's like this. It's professional. And then it's not, and then it goes right back to professional. That's why I love it.
I look, this is crazy, bro. I just want to make this quick point. Be careful with what you label guys. If you want to call Canelo a bitch and he's scared and he's ducking, well, what do you like? And you want to use language, right? Because basically the message is, oh, look at everything I'm saying about him. He still doesn't want to fight me. He must be scared, right? But then, like when someone comes back and gives you that same energy, right? The energy you put out in the universe, it always comes back, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Here is David Morrell saying, you're putting this energy out there, and obviously Canelo doesn't give a shit. Canelo's in Italy and yachts with his wife. You know what I mean? Like he don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Canelo is out finally getting sun because that dude needs a tan bad, right? Like he's out there like the dude looks like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Like, you know what I mean? And his wife. But that's not here nor there, okay? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? But like he don't care. He's like, whatever. But then Morrell's like, you're talking like you're Clubber Lang, bro. I'm Clubber Lang. All right? Like you're over here, like okay, I'm gonna give you the same energy here. What now? But you're talking about fighting Munguia. Nah, bro, you cannot keep mentioning this dude's name and have him believe that you're gonna fight him, and then when the Canelo fight looks like it's not gonna happen, not fight him. They're two different discussions. We could talk about Canelo Benavidez not happening. That's fair game, but it doesn't stop there unless you're so obsessed with Canelo that the only topic that exists to you is Canelo, right? This fight right here. This is the one right here. This guy right here, he's not out here begging Canelo to fight him. No, Canelo, please fight me. Pick me. Ooh, me. He's saying, you a bitch. Now, I don't agree. Look, I wouldn't call Benavidez that. Like, nope. You know what I mean?
Me neither.
Like, I don't think Benavidez is any of those things. But this man is saying it. Like he's out here saying you ain't no Mexican monster. He's calling them all types of B words and P words and any Cuban slang you could think of. He's calling them everything in the book. He basically calling them like bro, where I come from, you wouldn't even survive where I come from. But you're a monster. You ain't no monster. That's basically what he's saying. You cannot keep talking about Canelo a certain way and then pretend like this dude ain't talking back to you. You know what I mean? You can't do it, bro. Like, he's right there. He's literally like, Canelo, you're a bitch. Yeah, well, I think you're a bitch. Well, are we going to do it or what? Like, you know what I mean? You can't just ignore that dude because then you're a hypocrite. You're like, well, Canelo's a bitch because he's ignoring me while this guy's talking to you. Canelo's a bitch because he won't fight me while are you going to fight him? Right? The energy has been served. It's been served to you. This is the energy you put out there. Yeah. You put this energy out there. Canelo didn't put this energy out there. You put it out there. And this guy is matching that energy. He's basically saying, yeah, you're huffing and you're puffing. Can you come bring my house down? Because I'm right here. You know what I mean? Because guess what Morrell's thinking? In Morrell's mind, I beat this dude. Guess what? No, I'm in line for a fucking Canelo fight. Yeah. He knows this. Right? Because he's going to do, like, basically in Morrell's mind, he's going to do kind of like what Tim Tszyu did with Harrison for Charlo. Right? Like, I'm going to go take care of this pest for you. I'm going to take care of this problem. Right? So Morrell's mind, if I beat Benavidez, okay, and he'll piggyback off the whole, remember that interview where Flocka asked him about Morrell? Canelo genuinely didn't know who he was. Right? He'll piggyback, and he will. He'll bring that up. I know he will. Like, hey, Canelo, you pretended you didn't know who I was. But do you know me now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Cuba's here, whatever. So I'm
Canelo was like, K.
Ken said it. Yeah, dude's like, oh, he's pretending to not know who Morrell is. Because that's the name that shall not be spoken. Canelo wouldn't speak the name. That's how real that shit was. But let me tell you something, bro. A boss move by Canelo would be to offer a fight to Morrell.
Yeah.
What are they going to say then?
And I think that's a tougher fight for him, to be honest.
Stylistically, probably. Yeah.
Stylistically, I think it is. Somebody mentioned in the chat, I don't know who it was. I'm not going to go back to up there, but said something about, I don't understand Calix's position. And he sounds so, it's not that. Like, we're not angry at all. It's the draw to Canelo for us is, I've stated this on the channel. It's my mission statement here. We're not fans of fighters personally. I don't, quite honestly, outside of the ring, Canelo doesn't seem like the type of dude I want to hang out with. Like, he's tight ass golf clothes, riding white horses on the beach. It's just not my vibe. I probably want to hang out with Benavidez before Canelo. It's not that. We're not fans of fighters. We're a fan of their actions over time. So it's not personal at all. The issue that I have is when people try to make it personal, when they try to bring that into it, and when they personally attack just good-natured fans on here. Oh, look at those mind-numb robots. Look at the fanboys over there with their fanboy talking points. It's not that, dude. We're just trying to understand. Why is it that you're trying to drag down fighters who over time are fighting the fights in order to build up fighters who have a track record of not fighting the fights? I say it about 135 all the time. Why are you building up Tank? And part of your build up is to build up fighters like Rolly Romero who aren't doing anything and tear down guys like Devin Haney, Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, who are actually out there trying to fight for real belts and fight real fights. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. So when we get into he said, she said, blurry territory, why are you taking the side of the dudes who have a track record, clear track record of marinating, muddying the waters, using this side as leverage against that side as leverage side against this side? Why can't you just simply take the position until further notice that I'll take the position of the side that has a track record of actually delivering the fights? That would be the easy thing to do. Why wouldn't you want to do the easy thing? Why wouldn't you be more attracted to the fighters who make it easy for you? I demand the fights. He'll get to the fights.
I need to ask you the question of the hour, which now just asked. So, what type of clothes do you wear when you go golfing? What you go with your pants sagging or something, or what?
I don't. But
what's your Canelo wearing when he goes golfing?
Dude, if you watch Canelo golf, the clothes are extra tight, like extra tight, to where I don't see how that's coming.
Maybe his wife wants to wear tight. You know,
he said he's going to be on the PGA tour one day. I got to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I don't know.
Clothes are tight, but not that tight.
Look. I don't think we're going to see Canelo on the PGA tour. But
no, we're not.
Sorry,
we're not. But I was getting excited, and this is where I put myself out there that I'm a bit naive. That what Base the Kid is saying is true. You know, maybe he'll go for Morrell Jr. now and get him out of the way early before he gains some steam and then age Canelo out a little bit. It's a smart strategy, and we'll get the fights anyway. Because the beautiful thing about all this is all these fights are good and fun. That's the good part. But you're dragging Morrell Jr. along. You're dragging the Canelo thing along. There's no doubt in my mind that's what's happening. Dragging both sides along, and I have to ask the question. Like, I have to ask these questions.
You're gonna marinate it.
Why you're saying this fight was agreed upon for 4 months, and now all of a sudden your fighter is saying he's never heard of an agreement, he's never seen a deal, he's never seen any sort of proposition to agree upon. Mm-hmm. What is going on? Is that not a fair question? Am I not allowed to ask that question? Am I not allowed to ask it?
You're only allowed to question Canelo, everything Canelo does. That's when the neutrality guys say quiet. You know what I mean? But when you question Benavidez, when you question other fighters, it's every excuse in the book. Oh, no, it's not the fighters. It's never the fighters. It's always the people with the suits. The fighters are never to be blamed, no matter what. Because it's just a very convenient argument to make when you want to protect one of your fighters. Okay? That's just the truth. All right? Flat out, point blank. At the end of the day, David Benavidez, all right, or mainly his team, if you want to talk about the handlers, if it's the handlers, okay, Samson, they were saying that this is the fight that they were going to make. Morrell was next, right? But I don't know, man. Like, it wouldn't shock me if they want to, quote unquote, marinate this fight. It wouldn't shock me.
Are they going to marinate Morrell Jr. too?
I guess so. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to. They may end up making this fight. I just want to put that out there, right? I want to give Benavidez the benefit of the doubt that if the Canelo fight doesn't happen, then he will fight Morrell, right?
And he'll get full credit from here if he does.
Yeah, and if he does it, I don't like, because I already know how idiots work, right? Mm-hmm. If it doesn't happen, it's not Benavidez' fault. Don't blame Benavidez no matter what. The fighter's never lost no matter what. No matter what. You cannot blame this fighter under any circumstance. But if the fight does happen, what are you going to say now? I thought you said the fight was going to happen. Like, it's always convenient as shit. Look, I want the fight to happen. Mm-hmm. It's a great fight. Benavidez will get full credit and praise if he makes the fight. Right? But if he doesn't make the fight, it's a bad look. And we have every right to criticize it if he doesn't do it. Yeah, like you don't get to just pounce on people when the fights do happen, but when they don't happen, You don't want to hear it. You're above it. Oh no, you can't blame the fighter no matter what. Oh no. The fighters walk on water. Okay, like these fighters are without question. They are perfect beings, and we cannot question them whatsoever. Like no, that's stupid, bro.
So is Munguia an acceptable opponent at 168 for him?
No.
Would that be a similar fight as Canelo currently
Bro,
fighting?
he's the number 2 in the division. If it's not good enough for Canelo, it ain't good enough for David either, bro.
Wouldn't that be similar to Canelo fighting Berlanga currently if he were to fight Munguia? Munguia just moved
Let
up
me do
to
this, Alex.
168.
Let me do an 175 rule. If you blame Canelo 100% for an opponent, then you have to blame Benavidez at least 75%, like 75% of the same criticism, right?
Mhm.
So we hold Canelo to a higher standard. He's obviously far more accomplished, done a lot more, proven a lot more. So he's going to be held at a higher standard. So if you blame it, whatever the 100% of blame that you put on Canelo for a fight, you have to put at least 75% of that blame on David, in fairness. Okay. So whatever criticism you would give Canelo for fighting Munguia, you got to apply at least 75% of the blame or criticism, apply 75% criticism to Benavidez for that. I think that's fair. Is that fair?
Yes. Our expectations of fighters are what we really believe of those fighters, right? So the beautiful thing for me is I don't expect much from Benavidez. And I know people are acting like I'm being dismissive of Benavidez when I say that. I just look at his 9-year career and I say, all right, he's given me one fight in 9 years.
Careful with this line, guys. Benavidez fans, let me help you out. Careful. I'm not saying Feliciano's, but I'm gonna see. We're gonna see this a lot. Well, what has he done? He's only had 8 fights. He hasn't fought anybody. Careful with that.
Yeah.
Careful with that one. I'm just putting that out there.
For several reasons.
Yes.
For several reasons. But my expectations of Benavidez actually are not high. I've said for a while, I think he's a good fighter. He's an entertaining fighter. I just wish they would put him in the fights because he's a good and entertaining fighter. I don't care if he loses. It doesn't matter to me. 168, 175, it doesn't matter to me if he loses. I don't expect him to go undefeated throughout his career. I don't expect him to mow guys down. He just fought Caleb Plant and he went 12 rounds with him, and dude started to blame the ring size and the referee for that. I just don't have those high expectations. So for me, if he fights Munguia, that's what I expect from him. I expect him to fight Munguia. I do. When I heard that he was going to fight Morrell Jr., I was like, whoa, this is a 180. This is not what I've come to expect from Benavidez. So I started to get a little excited. Oh, he's going to make a 180 here. He's a new fighter. This is a brand new day. So when he goes back to, oh, he's going to fight Munguia, it's like, yeah, that's what I expected there. I expected him to fight a Munguia level type guy. I expected that. I expected him to continue to do this sort of thing until Canelo says, here's your stimulus check. Your promoter's finally ready. Is he finally ready? Is he done marinating? Is he done aging me out? Yeah, okay, here's your fight. I expect him to fight the simple fights until then. That's just what I've come to expect from Benavidez. I don't expect otherworldly things. I don't expect him to go on a Canelo run. I just don't.
He's got to show us, right? Like he's got to, it's time to show and prove, because you cannot, bro, it's, and this is what I try to hammer home to people. Like you can't be so aggressive with Canelo, right? And have no expectations out of the other fighters, right? Like it just doesn't work that way, bro. We can't. Don't talk to me like David's a victim if he does fight a Morrell, right? Well, we had matchmaker Roberto Diaz saying, I think if Benavidez fought Charlo or Andrade, and then the winner of that fight could fight Canelo, people were acting like somehow that's a statement to quote unquote protect Canelo, right? But was anybody protecting Jermell when Tim Tszyu took care of business with Harrison, or was Tim Tszyu just acting like a fighter? Was Tim Tszyu just showing everybody, look, I believe I'm the best in this division. So if I'm not, like he said it in an interview, if I'm not good enough to beat Harrison, I don't even deserve a shot with Charlo. So I'm not, like, I'm confident I'm going to win this fight, right? So it's the same thing here. Like if you're not confident you could beat Morrell, should you even be talking about Canelo? right? I
No.
mean, that's a fair thing to say, but people, they twist that. Oh, why are you protecting Canelo? Like, it's always about that. It's not about protecting anybody. If it's up to me, Canelo David will be happening next. I don't give a shit. It's not about that. It's about the reality of the situation. Your dad has been writing a lot of checks, and he's not the one that needs to cash them. Samson's been writing a lot of checks in a lot of these interviews. The internet's forever. Everything you say is forever.
Mm-hmm.
They're writing checks, Calix. You know what the name on the check says? It says David Benavidez. Guess who has to cash them?
David Benavidez.
David does. So when people say, well, it's not on David, it's his team. At the end of the day, that's his bank account. Those are his checks that he needs to cash. He needs to go to the teller and cash that check. So I like. There's a fine line. There's only so much we could do and say, right? There's only so many times we could say, "Oh, it's not the fighter, it's a team." Oh, it's never the fighter, it's a team. At some point, a fighter needs to step up and say, "Yo, you're making me look stupid out here. I don't sweat this dude. If the Canelo fight's not going to happen, put me in the ring with Morrell. Yo, fuck Morrell up. Dude, only got 10 fights, right? That's at some point you got to do that.
But he's doing the opposite. It's his promoter saying we want Morrell, we got an agreement, and it's him saying no, I want Munguia. So what am I supposed to make of that? Number one. Number two, if ever a team needed a conference call, it's this one. Like, you don't even have to fly to. There's technology now. I don't know if they know this. There's technology. You don't have to fly to be in the same place and have an actual meeting. You can have a conference call and all get on the same page. I don't know if they realize this. Like David Benavidez can get there with his dad, and then Samson can be there, and then Al Heyman can be there. And then they can have a meeting and say, these will be the talking points. This is publicly what we're going to say. This is privately what we want. We need to get on the same page.
The problem is that David Benavidez's dad is talking to a lot of content creators behind the scenes, and these content creators can't help themselves and they're revealing the things he's saying. And it's matching in a lot of cases. And that's number one. Samson is saying different things at times. Like there'll be a report. They try to clarify it with him. He'll call it fake news. And then he ends up saying the same thing anyway, like later on. So either there's a language barrier or something, or he's not understanding what they're asking, or he's playing stupid. Right? So there's a lot of circumstances here, right? But, you can't. Let me tell you something. If you are a believer that Canelo is a quote-unquote little bitch and he's scared because look how his dad's talking, David's tagging him and calling him scared. And if Canelo doesn't fight him, it's a bad look for Canelo. Let's say I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
This dude is saying worse shit about you.
Yeah.
Like this dude right here is saying, yo, you out here calling Canelo a duck? Motherfuckers, you guys been stringing me along thinking you're going to fight me and shit. You're going around telling people, oh, Canelo doesn't want to fight. Remember that talking point? Canelo, he doesn't want to fight us, so we're going to move on. David's dad posted that on Instagram not that long ago. About like Canelo, he's going to be fighting and he's going to be fighting in September. So we're not going to wait around for Canelo. That was the thing. We're not waiting for Canelo. We're not going to wait around for Canelo. Okay. Canelo doesn't want to fight us. Fuck it. We're going to fight Morrell or Charlo. I remember that was the other name they were throwing out there. Right. Well, we'll see. Andrade was the other one.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. So they need a conference call. They need a conference call. And the other part of it is that not what Nando brings up is the macro part of this is the PBC is the Bermuda Triangle of great fights. They know how to put off big fights. And there's that other part of it with Al Heyman. He's going to try. What did he try with the Plant fight? And he successfully got Canelo to give Plant more money, number one. And he successfully got Canelo to come over to Showtime as the A side. As the A side, he came over to Showtime. I really believe what we have on the macro side of this is Al Heyman trying to get Canelo over for multiple fights. He doesn't want this one fight thing where, yeah, you just come over here and fight David Benavidez. He wants a multi-fight deal here. And last year, what happened? When he offered Canelo a fight, it was a 3-fight deal. What was the third fight on the deal, D-Style? It was David Benavidez. He was the third fight on the deal. The first fight was Charlo. The second fight was Errol Spence at 164. And the third fight was David Benavidez. David Benavidez, the guy, the pawn in Al Heyman's game that he's dangling over here on the back end to try to get Canelo to sign a multi-fight deal. I think that's obvious at this point, right? Anybody with critical thinking skills would see David Benavidez is the big pawn to try to get Canelo over here for a multi-fight deal. And if we had to put Charlo off a 2-year layoff on the front end of that, then so be it. So be it. Charlo on the front end, 2-fight deal with Benavidez, something like that. Something like that. And it's obvious based off of, once again, what? Track record. Hello?
Yep.
Track record. And there's also another obvious thing going on is the content creators who are doing this stuff, the trolls running around here, they want David Benavidez to be that dude badly. They want him to be a dude that up to this point, he's not even closely resembling. Mexican monster, his one big fight, he didn't get the stoppage. And fair enough, man. Maybe he'll turn out to be that. I hope he does. I'd love to see him be a star. Love it. But up to this point, it's not there. It's not even, nothing closely resembles that to be that dude. And the issue with that is they think that Canelo is the end goal of that. They think that if Benavidez beats Canelo, then he proves that he's that dude. No, that's not how it works. He's got to take that baton and run with it. To be the Mexican monster, this is something you have to do for 3 years, 5 years, 6 years. Have we seen a guy up into this 9-point career so far that closely resembles a guy who can go on a 5-year run like that? I don't see it. I don't think he can cash these checks that these dudes are out here writing. I don't. And they're writing them. Why? We know why they're writing them. They're writing them because they want him to be the dude that Golovkin couldn't be when it came to Canelo, that Lara couldn't be, that Mayweather couldn't be. Even in defeat, Mayweather couldn't be the dude to stop Canelo. He still goes on a run. Trout couldn't be that guy. Plant couldn't be that guy.
What I don't understand is, I mean, why the only reason, like, bro, nobody was talking, like, nobody was bringing up Morrell. Nobody. Like the ones that were bringing up Morrell were the Benavidez side. They brought him up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so if I'm Morrell right now, I'm thinking to myself,
he was minding his own business, right?
I'm over here minding my own business, and then you start saying my name, like, "Oh, Canelo, if you don't fight us, well, we're not scared of no smoke. Well, we'll go after Morrell next." Like, and so he's thinking to himself, "Okay," and then he realizes you're using his name. You're using his name, right, to put out there, to put to the public, like, "Oh, David, he'll fight anybody. Look at this. He's begging Canelo for a fight. You know, pretty much he's cornering him, shaming him to fight him. Canelo still doesn't want to fight him, right? But then, you know, look, he's willing to fight Morrell next just to stay busy. Like, he wants that clout like a Tim Tszyu has, you know. He wants what Tim has, like kind of like, okay, champ, you're not ready, you're injured, no problem. Let me go take care of this, you know, Tony Harrison for you. He wants that, but without actually doing it, right? And I think Morrell, I think got fed up. I think he did interviews before this, by the way, saying, from my understanding, I already agreed to my side of the deal. Like, I'm just waiting for them to make it official, right? And so I believe, I don't want to get in his head, but by what I've read in that press release, and just kind of using my common sense here, I think he's tired of the Benavidez's team using his name, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes to trying to shame Canelo in any way, shape, or form. Because in his mind, it's like, yo, you're going to be calling no other man and saying he's scared of you and all this other shit, but like you have me over here waiting to fight you, all right? You're not going to tell
me the whole family, D-Style. He went after the whole family.
I mean, yeah, he did. And I think he's doing that on purpose. Like, yo, I'm not just talking shit about you. I talk shit about your dad. I talk shit about your brother. I talk shit about everybody, right? So all I'm saying is, and people don't need to like what he said. You don't have to agree with what Morrell said, but he's saying it. And it's going to be kind of awkward talking shit to Canelo when this dude's like right here, like, what's up? Right? I mean, I'm just saying, bro.
Yeah, and this stuff right here it's just not believable. It's just not believable.
Is he fighting Boo Boo though? Is he going to fight Boo Boo?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the other part is that side talked Morrell up. They talked Morrell up. There's the PBC side that's been talking Morrell Jr. up. You can't have it both ways. You cannot talk him up, and then when it's when it's good for you to talk him back down, we can't be doing that. We got to stay consistent. So all I'm saying is you guys are out here building monsters, straight Frankenstein style. We got the Mexican monster over here, got the Cuban monster over here that the PBC side's been building up. And you build them up, and then when it's convenient, you want to tear them back down. Right now, it's convenient for a lot of the Mexican monster side to tear down the Cuban monster side down, and it's just not going to work, man. And like I said, the beautiful thing about this is just simply someone who's following this as a boxing fan and who simply adopts boxers who give me what I want. And like I said, when it comes that time, if it comes that time, I'll simply jump off one bandwagon and go to the other one. Whatever fighter fits what I want. It's easy for me. It's easy.
Just give us what we want, and we'll give you credit in real time for what you're doing. It's not that complicated. It just isn't, right? But I'm not gonna feel sorry for guys that just think they're entitled to fights, and fan bases that just think they're entitled to get what they personally want. Like, you can't feel, even if it's like this. I want Benavidez versus Canelo. I want that fight. I think it's a great fight, right? However, I'm not going to sit here and shame Canelo, right, as if it needs to be next, because I have a brain and I can analyze what's been happening for the last 3 years in his division, right? It's hard to feel sorry for a guy, right, that's saying, oh, well, why is it Canelo? Why is he, like, in other words, this talking point about Canelo holding up the division, right? This division was a non-moving division for years, Calix. Mm-hmm. We had 4 champions. 2 of them were with Matchroom. 2 of them were with PBC. No unification fights. Yeah. Go listen to the interviews that Plant was doing. The dude was talking about unification like it's somewhere down the line somewhere. I mean, it seemed like an impossible thing. I didn't see Benavidez unifying anything. And there was no Canelo in Saibo. I don't want to hear, because Canelo this, Canelo that.
It's not even that he wasn't unifying. He couldn't even hold the belt. And the belt would have already got this. It almost, I wish he would have just made weight because we'd be over this. But the sad part about this is, and this is what I try to tell the Canelo fans out there, is they'll ask me, where does this end? And I tell them it's not going to end. The sad part about this is it doesn't end, because if Benavidez would have kept the belt and got a shot at Canelo, because he would have, you're not going to get anyone with critical thinking skills to believe that Canelo would have got 3 belts and came up to Benavidez and said, nope, that 4th belt's way too dangerous. I'm not going to fight that fight. You're not going to get anybody with critical thinking skills to believe that. He had the belt. He had a $10 million bag that he dropped on the scale. He couldn't even keep his. It's not that he couldn't unify for all those years. He couldn't keep it. And then Canelo comes into the division in less than a year. He unifies the whole damn division.
Yeah, but you know what the argument for that is? The argument is, well, that's because Canelo's a big name and he has the ability to do that because everybody wants to fight him. Benavidez, nobody wants to fight him, so he can't do. If he had the ability to do it, he would. Benavidez will fight anyone who's willing to fight him. But yet,
that's painful.
So, okay, show me then. Fight this dude.
That's painful. Especially when you have so many PBC fighters in that division for years. It's painful. It's painful. You had one big fight you could have made for half a decade and you marinated it. But just to go on with my point, is he comes in when less than a year and does that. And, you know, shout out Hot Boxing Minute, who big time over on TikTok. Shout out our guy there. He's been on the round table. I've heard him explain the same phenomena that I've explained. And I've heard him say this on the round table. I go to a Canelo fight and I just see boxing fans and I see people happy, like genuinely happy. And then no matter what happens in the fight, I log on after the fight and I just see these dudes who are miserable, just miserable on Twitter, just absolutely miserable. And I'm like, did they watch the same fight that I watched? Are they following the same career that I'm following? Are they following the same sport that I'm following? How is it that these dudes just are attracted to complete misery? Complete misery. It's a complete difference when you go to a fight and you get the experience and then you're just sitting at home and you're on Twitter or whatever and you're just tweeting whatever. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And the beautiful thing about the relationship, once again, is just simply, I've explained this phenomenon as well, is Canelo started with a Mexican fan base strictly. And he grew that universally to people like me over a couple of years who were not attracted to this dude's career at all at the beginning. And then over time, he earns your respect and earns your fanhood. And he does this universally across the board. So it's why this is the personal part for me, that the part that I do take personally is when you start to attack a fan base who is generally just boxing fans. Canelo's fan base is generally just boxing fans. It's people who like to watch boxing. That's it. That's the fan base. That's the fan base. And he's probably got the most versatile fan base in the world as far as boxers go. So you're attacking just good-natured boxing fans. We don't care if you attack Canelo personally. That's fine, dude. He gets paid a ton of money for that. Devin Haney's learning that now. No matter where he goes, people are gonna have a problem with it. There are people, when fighters start to get a certain stature, that's where you are. And Canelo gets paid for that. Let him handle that. The problem I have is when you come after us, just dudes who want to watch boxing. That's it. That's all we are. We just want to watch boxing and just want to follow the sport. And you start attacking these people personally as whatever you want to attack them as to build up other fighters. I don't understand it. If Benavidez wants to be the man, act like the man. Take on Morrell, Bivol, better Biev. That's the expectation. Shout out Nando. And it goes back to, if you want to be the face of boxing, you got to do face of boxing shit, right? You said that. And it goes back to the beautiful part for me in all this is I expect a certain thing of Benavidez. I expect him to disappoint over time and entertain at the same time. I expect him to fight the Munguias of the world. But if he doesn't, if he fights bigger fights, if he does what Nando is saying there, even better for me. I'll become a fan. I'm there. But my expectations are here. And if I get anything above that, then beautiful. It's what we call in South Louisiana lanyap. It's a cherry on top. But I'm not expecting it. I'm not sitting over here expecting it either.
Look. I don't know why they have these fancy terms in Louisiana. I mean, just call it a cherry on top. But look, Canelo derangement syndrome for sure. Shout out to Hot Boxing Minute, by the way. But look, here's the thing. He's right there. Like, dude, you have a fight right there. Like, he's right there. Look. Yeah. Like, nobody wants to fight him. He's a Mexican monster. Everybody's scared to get in the ring with him, says his dad.
Yeah.
He's right here. Like, let's go get in the ring with you. Like, don't gas up the fans saying, hey, don't worry, guys. If Canelo doesn't fight, we're going to fight the best, bro. We're going to go after Morrell. We're not begging for nothing. Why'd you make this dude believe? Like you think Morrell just made it all up, that he was led to believe he's going to get the Benavidez fight? He just made it up for no reason? Like, Morrell, us, the rest of the world were just under the impression that if you don't get the Canelo fight, you're going to fight Morrell, right? Mm-hmm. And now you're not going to fight Morrell because apparently Munguia looks so good in the Derevyanchenko fight, you have to make that fight, right? That's the fight to make. No. That's not a fight I want to see, quite frankly. Morrell's not the only fight he could make, but I don't know if Munguia is the answer, quite frankly.
Yeah, and first of and I want to say this too, the people not being respectful in the chat. You're not gonna come after regulars over here. I'm not gonna allow that. So get out of here. But the to me, the frustrating part about this is it's simple. It's simple. It's so simple to read. And either people can't read it or they're being disingenuous. It's one of the two. It's one of the two. Like this whole thing is so easy to read. It's I think on the macro level, it's clear. I think Al is dangling Benavidez up here for Canelo to sign a long-term deal. I think Sampson is going along with whatever Al wants him to do, and he has to come out there. Unfortunately, this is how it works with a lot of guys. This is the unfortunate part is I've seen Steven Espinoza become the press secretary for Al Heyman. Unfortunately, that's his job now. He has to come out here and explain a lot of the stuff that Al Heyman is doing behind the scenes. And I think in a lot of ways, Sampson's doing that for Al Heyman in this particular situation. And I think Benavidez is sitting there with not much control over his career, and he's being told different things. And unfortunately, he's just sitting there, and I think he's frustrated, and he can't speak on how frustrated he is. And I think that's where he is. I don't think he has control over his career. I think this is where we are, D-Style. I don't think this is tough to read at all. I think Canelo's sitting there, and he's fielding different offers, and he's sitting back in Italy, and he's going to take whatever the best offer is. And I hope that the PBC offer is the best offer, because I would love to see Canelo versus Benavidez, whether it's the next one or May 2024. That's the fight I want to see. And if I get Charlo in between, that's a fun fight. I'll take it. I'll take that fight before Benavidez. So I hope the PBC deal ends up being the better deal. And once again, you see how easy that is? People call me a PBC hater. I'd like to see him take that deal. I think he should have.
Yeah, but I'll take it.
It was an easier deal.
I need to say something, and I'm actually going to criticize Canelo a little bit here in this team.
Go ahead.
A lot of the problems we have right now and in and around his weight class, I think it's and I'll explain why. I want everybody to hear me out. It's kind of Canelo's fault, okay? And I'll tell you why. All this brazen, like, see how brazen Benavidez' dad and Sampson and some of the fans, and see how brazen they are when it comes to Canelo. So it's absurd the way they act, right? There's a saying, an old saying: you don't negotiate with terrorists. Okay, now I'm not calling anybody in boxing a terrorist. What I'm saying is, right? When you wield the power, when you have all the leverage, right? With great power comes great responsibility, but also you need to yield it properly, but use your leverage. Use it. Don't negotiate from a position of weakness. Don't be too passive when it comes to negotiating, right? Because the things you're doing, okay? The things you're doing, like when it comes to Reynoso and the way they're negotiating, because Reynoso negotiates for, like, he's like a nice guy. He want, like, he's going to the car dealership and offering all the sticker price. You know what I mean? I'll pay the sticker price. Now, how about you pay more for the sticker price? Oh man, well, I'll pay a little more than the sticker price. No, you're going to pay a lot more than the sticker price. When you went to the other dealership, you paid them double the sticker price. So we expect the same. What type of a terrible person are you? That's the position they're in, bro. Look at the money Kovalev got. Like 14 million, 13 million. I forgot what it was. It's ridiculous. Look at the money Danny Jacobs got. Crazy money. What was it? Like 12 million, 10 million? Crazy amount of money. Look at the money Billy Joe Saunders got. 10 million. Plant, 10 million. Bivol, 6 million. Okay? And people were saying Bivol was dumb. Oh, Bivol's stupid. He took it for just $6 million. You know, like, you have created a situation where they're going to the negotiating table and they're trying to, like, frame it like anything's your fault if it doesn't happen, when it shouldn't be that way. Look, right now we have a situation where Floyd Mayweather paid Maidana $2 million. Yeah. He paid Robert Guerrero, I believe it was just $4 million, or maybe lower than that. Canelo only got like $2 or $3 million for his fight with Floyd, and some of the pay-per-view revenue, not even a big percentage of it. Think about that. Like, what do you guys think Berto got for his fight with Mayweather? You know why? Because Floyd knew the position he was in. Like, yo, you ain't gonna get $2 million fighting anybody else. You want the fight, yes or no? Right? And guess what? Everyone in line, everyone that was hoping for that big payday from Floyd, they already knew from jump. I cannot try to be brazen and demand shit because it's gonna look somewhere else. Right? I think the Canelo side needs to be more aggressive, bro. Like, there's zero reason why Samson should be going around saying we offered this and Canelo take it or leave it, and like, you know what I mean, say it's so brazen, and then like respond to Reynoso's tweet like all rude and like, we did offer you, you're gonna make me show it, and then he doesn't even show it. It's like a screenshot, everything's and we can't even see what the proposal was or whatever, right? But here's the thing.
You're talking about public pushback, more public pushback.
They need to improve the PR. They need to improve pushback against narratives more. Okay, he needs a representative. Okay, that comes out and clears the air immediately. He needs that, right? I just think he doesn't give a fuck. That's part. He's over there in Italy. Okay, supposedly getting a 10. I don't see no 10. I think he just took those pictures and went back in the fucking boat. That's just me. Yeah. Okay, and that's cap. But just one more quick point.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just think like it's time. Canelo just comes out. People think I'm speaking Chinese when I say this, but honestly, bro, you're telling me you can't just tell Benavidez, yo, look, I got $7 million. You want to fight? Come over here to the zone. Let's do the fight. They can't do that. Like, Canelo doesn't have the ability to offer anything. You are in a position of power. You are the one with all the leverage. And he's not wielding that power, bro. And you know what it does in the end? It works against him. It just does. Everyone frames things like it's all Canelo's fault. Being a generous A-side in the long run, right, doesn't get you praised by most people, okay? It doesn't, all right? People they use it against you. That's what they do. If Canelo could just get that one message, that the one thing across his head, right, I think it would help him make a lot of these fights a lot faster, in my opinion.
Yep. Let me push back on two things that were said by Eliezer Feliciano. Morrell doesn't sell pay-per-views. Who does? Does Benavidez sell pay-per-views? Does he? He doesn't. What did Benavidez versus Plant do? Plant doesn't sell pay-per-views.
And it was marinated.
And he marinated it. And it didn't sell pay-per-views. So why fight him? If this is the route we're going to go down, who sells the pay-per-views? Who does? Who's he supposed to fight? I'm not understanding. And then the other one is Canelo is afraid to pass the torch. Canelo's not in charge of passing the torch. He's not in charge of it. The fans are in charge of handing the torch to people. It's that simple. If Canelo was in charge of passing the torch, who would have the torch right now? Dimitri Bivol. But he doesn't, because nobody cares about Dimitri Bivol. It's the truth. I like Dimitri Bivol. I'd like to see him fight the fights. He beat Canelo. I think he beats Canelo 10 times out of 10. Nobody cares about him. If Canelo was in charge of passing the torch, Dimitri Bivol would have the torch. Do you think, are people that stupid to think that if Benavidez beats Canelo, then the torch automatically gets passed to Benavidez like that? It doesn't. Benavidez has to go on a run to where the fans are trusting now. Yeah, he's a star. I got it. He's a star now. And, I see that he'll do it over a long term. It's fine. The reason that Pacquiao and Mayweather got the torch from De La Hoya is they had Hall of Fame careers before they fought De La Hoya. And then they had a Hall of Fame career again after they fought De La Hoya. That's two guys who had 2 to 3 Hall of Fame careers in one career. That's why they got the torch. The torch is not going to be passed to a dude not doing anything. It's that simple. It's why Roberto Diaz is telling us, if he just fights the fights, then we got something. But I don't understand, man. Like, none of this is hard. None of it's complex. It's all simple. None of this is difficult to read. I don't get it. You have to not want to see it.
No, but like this whole, like, this isn't the Olympics, guys, where guys are running with the torch and giving it to the next guy so they could continue running with the mantle, right? Because the whole point of that is to continue running with the mantle, meaning, like, are you going to keep the same pace and do the same things Canelo's been doing? I doubt it. And objectively speaking, look, anyone who's objective, bro, it's understands all this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, what are we trying to say? Are we trying to say that Benavidez' team is allowed to pull this dude along, string him along, and then turn around and say, well, we never talked about him. You know what I mean? Because anything you say about him, right, there's more separation between Canelo and Benavidez than Morrell and Benavidez in terms of popularity and who knows them. And there's more separation, right? Yeah. So if we're not here tolerating, like, I guess, like, is Benavidez more well known than Berlanga? Is he? Like, Berlanga was out there dancing with Snoop Dogg. Remember all that? He, like, walking out. Fat Joe was bragging about Berlanga, and, like, they were about to do raps. He was hanging out with the rappers and all
that. Benavidez is not in Terror Squad.
Not in Terror Squad. You know what I mean? All that good stuff. But is he? Because if we're going to go by that, then Canelo should fight Berlanga then, by your logic.
Yeah, I don't know.
If we're going to go by who's pop and who's this and who's that, I don't know about that. All I know is this. This is all I know.
And I'll tell you one thing, D-Style.
We're going to be talking about this dude if this side didn't bring him up.
Yeah, and one thing, if he were to fight Berlanga next, you know who would be the first to call him out? The Canelo Protection Squad right here. And if he would have fought Badu Jack at a catch weight, we would have said, no, it's a bad catch weight. We don't like catch weight.
We said it ahead of time. We say it ahead of time so you know. So you could have receipts. We're giving you the receipt. We're like, look, copy, paste this, screen share it. If Canelo fights Berlanga, I will criticize him for doing it. Screen share that shit.
Mercilessly.
You're not going to see me say after the fight, oh, I think it's a great fight. Oh, Berlanga, he's a Puerto Rican monster. That's a great fight for you. You're not going to see that anyway. You're not. But you know what? I never see Benavidez fans saying, oh, Benavidez says X, Y, and Z. I will criticize. They never do that.
I'll make a deal with him. If he fights Berlanga next, I will drop at least 5 videos talking about how much I hate that fight. We'll do 5 lives about how much we hate that fight. Yeah, that's how confident I am that it's not going to happen, but also how confident I am in us as content creators that we'll just call it like we see it. It's easy. It's so simple. It's so simple when you just sit back and watch things develop and just call it as it goes. And if things don't go as we expect, we'll simply correct course. You know, I leave open the door that Benavidez still fights Morrell Jr. I leave open the door that even if he doesn't fight Morrell Jr., even with the track record the way it is, that one day he could possibly go on a run where he strings together 3 or 4 fights, and I say, you know, I like that dude now. He's fighting the fights. He's entertaining. Whether he's good or great, I don't need him to be great. I don't need him to be this monster. He's entertaining.
I just want to understand this because this is a common thing that gets said. All you Canelo lovers and all this non-starter talk, okay? And there's no offense, brother, okay? But anyone who needs to resort to ad hominems, which that's what it is. Anytime someone starts with because you're a fanboy, if that's your response to everything. You're a Canelo lover, you're a fanboy, you're this, you're that, and they don't stick to the merits of the argument. There's a problem there. You cannot tell me. What is the point of this comment? Are you trying to say that Benavidez is anywhere near the draw Canelo is? It's a yes or no question. You know the answer is that he's not, so why are we entertaining this talk? You know Canelo's a far bigger name. Like it's not even, you know, because of what he gets paid, what PBC's willing to offer him. According to reports, the number Samson was putting out was close to 50 million for Canelo. You think Benavidez is getting anywhere near that amount by Canelo? He's not. He's lucky to get 10 million. So what's the point of this comment other than looking for an excuse to throw out the Canelo lover thing? What's the point of it?
No, you're right. I just realized I was on mute. And look, this right here is a tweet from Morrell Jr. You might not be able to read it. 18 minutes ago, he's saying boxing's biggest bitch, and he's tagging Benavidez. This is what you get, man. Like when you use somebody as leverage, you better be careful, because what I'm telling you about this is, I've said, as far as talent, as far as not having the names on the resume yet, we can't really tell how great or good Morrell Jr. can be or where he's at in his career right now. We just see eye test tells us he's dangerous, but we don't know yet. We don't know how high the ceiling is. But one thing I have Morrell pegged on now is that guy gets it. He understands what a lot of Cuban fighters who have come here have not gotten in the past. Is we can't fight an amateur style. We have to go out and fight a pro style. And when knockouts present themselves, we got to go for them. We got to go for knockouts. We understand the entertainment value. When it comes to Morrell Jr., he understands the entertainment value that a lot of Cuban fighters don't get. They think that they can just come here with flash and boxing ability. He understands he's got to come in with flash and be entertaining. And on top of that, it helps if you learn English, why you can make yourself more marketable in America. And you can talk trash the way he's been talking trash. And he's talking trash now. The past 2 days. This is him cornering Benavidez. And this is the monster you created. They tried to make it out to where,
right?
Yes, the Canelo fans were bringing up Morrell's name. The Canelo fans didn't know that Morrell Jr. existed, to be honest. Canelo's out there saying, I don't really know who the guy is. Fair or not, I don't know. But it was the PBC side. It was the Benavidez side pumping this guy up. And this is the next opponent. And now look at what you got. Now you've created a Cuban monster. Now you've created a Cuban missile crisis that you have to disarm, because this dude is not playing games. He understands the gift of gab. He understands, let's put out a flashy press release. He understands, let me just go to Twitter and tag this guy and say, you're a bitch. You're a bitch. Fair or not, it gets fights. It gets things done. And
look,
now
because it's the energy you put out. Like I said earlier, right? The energy you put out will come back to you, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure, look, I think I said Berlanga. I think Morrell was, I'm sure he does what we do, right? He's looking at Twitter, he's looking at social media, right? And he's listening to his name being brought up by Samson. But then he's also just like us, right? Okay, but you're trying to make the fight with Canelo. So why the fuck am I agreeing to deals and all this? And then you're talking about Canelo, right? And I'm sure he sees like, oh, Canelo, he's a bitch. Oh, Canelo, he's scared. Why are you scared of me, Canelo? Why don't you want to fight me, Canelo? And all this, that, and the third, right? And I think he's sitting there like, why we're so convinced that Canelo doesn't want to fight you. Why do you keep bringing my name up? Why did I already agree to the fight? And you're just stringing me along. And I think he said, I don't know, I smell something with this dude. All right? Like something tells me, like it's easy to talk shit to Canelo. He's over there with his wife in Italy. He probably doesn't even know you're tweeting at him, to be honest with you. You think Canelo knows that Benavidez put him in the story? He's like, I don't know. I have no idea. But Morrell's probably like, well, shit. If Canelo doesn't want it, I want it. Let's go. Right? In his mind, I'm talking from his perspective. Right? Because you think Morrell gives a fuck if Benavidez gets a fight with Canelo? No. He don't give a shit. To him, it's like, it doesn't do anything for me. Like for me is this guy. Right? Now, I could see Benavidez saying, well, for me, Canelo's a bit bigger name for me. I get that. Right? But hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes in life.
He's got him cornered. He's talking trash. He's outside the training headquarters in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm just telling you, man, y'all picked a fight with the dude you didn't want to pick a fight with. That's what we got going on here. Like you picked a fight with a dude that you probably shouldn't have picked a fight with, and this is why you got to be careful with.
Look. If
there's a leverage play, you got to be careful.
Look, if Bivol was a cherry pick, right? If a title holder was consensus number 2 at 175 pounds was a cherry pick, then you must think very highly of Canelo Feliciano. Your opinion of Canelo must be so high if Bivol is a cherry pick. You think higher of him than me, quite frankly. You know what I mean? But if he's such a piece of cake, if that was a guy you cherry pick, then fuck it. Then Benavidez should go to 175 and take the cake. Yeah. Go eat the cake, right? Is he going to go do the fight with Bivol? Is he going to go do that? Because guess what? You beat Bivol, well, you really show Canelo then. I'm just saying.
Expectations
are everything.
They're different, and they tell you everything you need to know. They tell you everything how you feel about a fighter is the expectations you have of that fighter. So, for me, just to recap it, I don't expect great things from Benavidez. So if they don't come, I'm fine. I'm fine over here. I've observed this career. I've observed the chaos from fight to fight. I observed that even with the Plant fight, it was Uska Tigwe before, and then we finally got Plant. And before that, it was marinating it for 5 years. And then there was just not much going on. There's not much going on in this division before it. And there's not much going on besides Canelo after it. But I leave open the door that hopefully Benavidez fights this fight. If he fights Munguia, I'll still watch it. That's what I expect of him. I expect that level of a fight. But if he does fight Morrell, beautiful. Full credit over here. And I hope he goes on one of those runs because we need as many American stars as we could possibly have. And the beautiful thing about that is a lot of the American stars that develop are not undefeated guys. So we don't need them to be undefeated. We don't. We just need star appeal. And for all intents and purposes, the full package, he has a star quality about him. He does. That's the frustrating part is I just want him to be unleashed and let this dude try to be a Mexican monster. And even if he falls short of that, I'd like to see it, but he has star qualities about him. He's an entertaining fighter. He has star qualities. I just want to see it unleashed. And yesterday was another red flag for me. Another warning sign there that, yeah, this is just going to continue the way it's been throughout his career. And
what I'll say is this. I'm going to choose to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he will fight. Morrell's talking way too much shit.
Yeah.
That if he doesn't get the fight, I believe he's going to do the fight. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's a mistake, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's going to fight Morrell. If it might be some 4-dimensional chess, and maybe this is a way for them to kind of put the fight out there, make people think for a second that he's going to avoid Morrell, and then he'll go ahead and sign the fight. Benavidez fans are going to come out like right now. They're saying, "Oh, but who's Morrell? Right? Nobody want to see that fight." And but then if he does sign to fight him, they're going to say, "Oh, see, you guys said he was going to duck. Calix, you were saying you didn't believe he would do it, and what are you going to say now?" Like, I'm just going to go ahead. And believe he's going to, if the Canelo fight doesn't happen, he fights Morrell. Because at the end of the day, they could do the Munguia fight, but that's a cross promotion. Are they really going to work with Oscar again? PBC, I don't know. They might, but there's a lot going on with Oscar, and the Ryan thing has gotten ugly. So like there's that going on. So I think PBC has been backed up to a wall a little bit lately. And they may have no choice but to kind of deliver on some of these fights. And I think this is going to be one of them. And if it's not next, it'll probably be next year.
And they've delivered some nice pay-per-view fights this year too. So hopefully that track record starts to turn around. But that's all we got. We'll closely be monitoring this situation. And like you said, I hope this matchup between the two monsters happens. Cuban monster versus Mexican monster, because what a beautiful fight it would be. And we'll just continue to monitor it. That's a beautiful thing about this. We can just monitor it and deviate as we go. Where are we at tomorrow night? Is it Ringside Reporter, 6 p.m. Central?
Ringside Reporter, the round table, 136 should be very, 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 very interesting. And to answer Barry's question, will Charlo fight my guy Tim Tszyu? We're going to talk about that tomorrow.
I think he
How
will.
that's looking.
I think October 13, 14, somewhere around there. That's going to happen. And there is some false news I'm seeing going on out there that Tim Tszyu doesn't want to come to America. I think you've debunked that plenty of times. He wants to come to America to fight Charlo. So
to tell you what, I'm working on. Let's just hold off on it. I'm working on something, and we're going to get a direct answer. So don't listen to the rumors, guys.
yeah,
Just fuck the rumors. Let me just put that to rest right now. Fuck the rumors. Just let's just hold off, and you'll see why. We'll announce it when it's official.
Yep.
Say that.
October, I think that fight's going to happen. So on that note, we out, man. God bless. Great show. Thanks for coming by. We out.
Peace.
Peace.